All right, guys. Can you guys see me? Does my hair look good? Awesome. I love it. Sweet. We'll get started in just 1 minute. I'm just going to get some people, give them time to get relaxed and check in, especially the West Coasters who are coming in from their day of work. So excited to get going. Let's see what we got here. Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Glad the video and the audio is good. If you are having issues either seeing my video or hearing my audio, just log out and just log back in. And usually the issues will be resolved that way. Sometimes what happens when everyone tries to log in at once, something goes wrong, whether the audio goes out or the video goes out. But if we're running good, that just means that we need to just log out and log back in. So just do that. You won't miss anything. I'll give you guys some time to do that if that happens. Trying to see. Cool. Good crowd here. Just double check and grab these questions that you guys posted today, which is pretty awesome. Well, actually, since I've announced the webinar. Let's see. Okay. Just trying to see how we can grab. Take your time, guys. So there's no rush. I'm just trying to make sure I pull up the questions for you guys so I can answer those, as those are the priority. There we go. Hope you guys are having a good night so far. Before we get into it, just make sure that you guys are chill. Maybe you guys have a beverage, whatever it may be. Make sure you just relax. We have some fun today. Pretty pumped. So here's the 4th. All right, we're almost ready. 4, 5, 7. All right. Cool. Awesome. Got the questions out, so we're going to be good to go. All right. Ready to do it. Love that you guys have already been using the Q&A. Feel free to use that to ask more questions as I get into Q&A. And I just will quickly say, if there are any ladies that are on here, which I hope that there aren't, but if there are, just know that this is a webinar for men only. I know that you guys love listening to my advice, especially the advice I give to the guys to get an understanding more of the male psychology. But I want this to be a free space for guys to feel open to ask questions to me and feel like it's just them. So do me a favor, log off. I'll have something for you guys actually as early as next week. My wife will be doing something next week, and so I'll share that as soon as I find out what that is. But just thank you for showing up. I love it. And I'll see you guys very, very soon when you check my next few emails. Sweet. Now I'm going to share the screen so you guys can get a shot at looking at what I got here. So you guys can see my presentation. Awesome. Cool. You should be able to see me too in your upper right. Even more awesome. Sweet, guys. Well, listen, let's get into it. I want to thank you guys for being here, taking some time with me. We're here for the live class I wanted to share with you guys called Flirting 2.0. Many of you guys saw me a couple weeks ago on your Match webinar that I did with how to create chemistry through flirting. And with Match, I love working with Match. And I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. I actually got their feedback, and it was through the roof. Definitely by far the best webinar that I did this year, which is awesome. And I looked at the feedback, and I'm hoping to use some of that feedback even for this webinar. So if you guys bear with me while I get all my tools together, I will make sure I deliver as much content for you guys as possible, given the time. And we don't have a lot of time. I don't want to do anything too long, just because you got so much from the webinar a couple weeks ago. Also, I've been under the weather this past week, and so my voice may not be able to withstand the amount of time. So that being said, let's roll into some things here. Obviously, turn off all distractions. For any of you guys who've been here, you guys know the drill. Try not to be distracted by this. I'm only asking for a little bit of your time, so if you do that for me, it's awesome. For those who yet to know me, which aren't that many of you, I'm Thomas Edwards. I have been very successful in what I've been able to do. This is me on Steve Harvey. I've been included in over 400, at this point, over 450 different outlets from around the world. I've been on TV a ton, and it's been great. I also want you to know that this slide is in there now, but I've also been where you are now, where I didn't know what to do, and I was trying to figure my shit out. And I didn't have someone like me to go to talk to about this whole dating thing. So I feel very blessed to be in a position where I am now, where I can say that I'm happily married. Been married for over 3 years, and I just well, not now just because she's almost 5 months, but I had a baby girl about almost five months ago, and she's been amazing, teaching me all kinds of things that I never thought I would learn in my life, and it's been incredible. Stick to the end. Just because I have this very special offer for everyone who does stay until the very end. And one of the things I will say about it is that it's likely going to be something that I'll never be able to offer to you guys again. So if you guys can stick to the end, I'd really appreciate that. My promise to you isn't too much different than the promise I gave you in the webinar a couple weeks ago, is to help you become more confident, feel like you can approach dating in a more effective way. And also to learn more about flirting and how to build chemistry, excuse me, both online and offline, so that way you can have more dates and have more second dates and third dates and eventually lead to a long-lasting relationship. So here's the agenda. I'm going to summarize flirting and its simplest strategies. This is going to be very based on the summaries that I gave not too long ago. I'm going to do your Q&A from the questions you guys asked me in advance and the questions you're asking me now. I'm going to go through my special offer, and then we're going to do more Q&A after that. So if any questions does come to mind after the offer, you're more than welcome to ask. Literally, this 2.0 is always designed for people who have more questions they want to ask and never really got the chance to get them answered. The content isn't going to be new because you already have the content, and you just want to get questions that are specific to you answered. And so I always want to make sure that I give the appropriate time. Sometimes when we get into the match webinars, there just aren't enough time to get all the questions answered. So here's your chance to be able to do that and go as deep as we need to. So any questions that you might have, just feel free to reach out. But I hope for a lot of you that attended the webinar a couple weeks ago, you have already been able to imagine what life could look like having now known this content, these strategies to be able to effectively create more chemistry. And so when you get a chance, I would love to see in the chat, how you guys been implementing this, how you guys been kind of learning, digesting it. And I want to see what progress you guys have made since then. Definitely either through the Q&A or through the chat. And I would love to see them just because I want to make sure you guys are actually implementing it and doing it well. It's one thing to be on these webinars and enjoy the free content I give, but it's a whole other thing to be able to go out there and implement it. And I want to make sure you guys are going out and actually doing the work, doing what's necessary to create those connections that you guys so desire. So without further ado, I want to go into Flirting Summarized. This is going to be the summary of what I think are the most important points for you to understand when it comes to flirting. And then we'll go into Q&A. So, flirting. Yeah, so the way for flirting to work and the way for you to be able to attract women is that you have to be open and honest about your romantic intentions to attract women. For as long as I can remember, especially in Western culture, we've been raised to believe that when we see a woman and we're attracted to her, that we think that it's wrong to think sexual things or to desire a relationship or some type of intimacy with her. The reality is it's completely natural. It's completely biological, something that shouldn't be suppressed but welcomed. And you have to also understand that when women are going out, when they're out at dates, when they're at the bar, if they're at an event, and a guy sees her and starts to walk over to her, she already knows why you're coming over. It's because you're into her. You're attracted to her, and you want to see if there's any romantic implications that are there. But the moment you stop being open and honest about that, then her feeling of you having ulterior motives is going to completely destroy the conversation and any chance that she can trust you when it comes to being in a relationship. So the more open and the more honest you are about your intentions, the better chance you have of attracting women, because when they can trust you and allow themselves to be vulnerable as well, which we'll get into a little bit, then it increases their investment in you and then their attraction for you. So always be open and honest with your romantic intentions. There's no reason not to be at this point. She already knows. Second thing, avoid neediness. Neediness is the least attractive quality a guy can possess. There's no need for you to, this is where a lot of guys actually come to fault when it comes to being seen as the nice guy. In fact, I actually talked to someone earlier today, and he says he gets a lot of, well, you're such a nice guy, and I think you'd be a really great friend, but I just don't feel a spark. And when you hear, let's just be friends, or friend zone, or nice guy, or spark, or chemistry, I can see guys literally just ripping the hair from their heads because they're so frustrated and tired of hearing a combination of those lines. And I'm with you. I used to be the friend for everyone, and it fucking sucked. It was the worst feeling in the world because I thought I was doing right by being there for them and always being willing to help them whenever they needed. And they have so many other people to do that. And when when you're seen as a friend, there's rarely a chance where you can actually go above that. And who wants to treat, I understand the process as guys take. It's like, let me get to know her and learn to be your friend, and then we can see what romantic opportunities that exist. Problem with that is when you start to treat someone like a friend, then they start to only see you as a friend. And so the opportunity for you to then go beyond that is very hard for them to kind of fathom in their mind. And so the way to basically reverse this process is to embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability does not mean weak. By no means does it mean weak. When you're embracing is you being who you are and what you represent and what you want, and being totally okay with that. letting her know that, being open and honest with, and letting her know, listen, if you're not cool with that, or you're not in alignment with what I am looking for, then I'm willing to walk away and find someone who does. Now, the willingness to walk away is something that's very hard for a lot of guys, but when you're willing to walk away, it really demonstrates that you have a lot of value that you bring to the table that you're not taking for granted, and neither should she. So the moment she starts to realize that you are the real deal, then she starts to be more interested and more invested in the kind of guy that you are. Now, ways to embrace vulnerability would be situations like moments where you can embrace vulnerability, or will be situations where you actually show your intent with a woman. So notice how the two are connected. When you are open and honest about your romantic intentions, it does expose you. You are vulnerable to her denying you the chance to move forward in the interaction, or for her to say that she's not as attracted to you as you are into her. But imagine if you did do that and she said, wow, like, I actually feel the same way about you, then you would never worry about this. And so the best way to truly find out how she feels about you in almost any given moment in an interaction is by being open and honest with your intentions and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And I'll tell you again, you hear me say this many times on many webinars, past, present, and future. Your vulnerability is at the core of your confidence. The more vulnerable I've seen clients be, the more confident I've seen them become, and the more attractive they appear, because of their willingness to just put everything out on the table in a way that's just genuine and authentic, and just states their intentions. If you have questions about that, please feel free to post in the Q&A, because I'd love to talk more about that. Next thing, chemistry is not personal. It's about compatibility. When a woman sees you and you walk over and you say hi, and she says, I'm not interested, or get lost, or she ignores you, our inclination as guys is to immediately take it personal. It's something to do with me, something to do with us. That's the reason why. And it's hard to discipline yourself not to. Women have a much better temperature of understanding chemistry than we ever will. And sometimes for women, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, they can just look and feel and make a decision. Well, what a lot of guys think is that women just look and determine that the chemistry is not there. You can't see chemistry, you have to feel it. So, and for some women, they make that judgment call a lot sooner than we like. And to be honest, working with women, I also work with women too. I also believe women don't give enough time to feel the chemistry they need to make that type of decision. Regardless of the decision that's being made, just understand that it has nothing to do with you. It's the idea of what you represent that they may not actually like. And a lot of times it's not necessarily what you say, it's what they feel. And sometimes what they feel in your presence can trigger something that they just knew that they didn't like. It could be a past boyfriend. It could be something else. Or maybe she has a total mental block because she had such a shitty day at work today, or there's some drama that's going on that doesn't allow her to have the emotional capacity to embrace someone, to talk to them or come into their lives. That's a matter of compatibility. It's nothing to do with you. It's what you represent. I know it's very hard to understand and wrap your head around, but I tell my clients a lot that you start to understand it the more you approach and start getting engaged in conversations with women, because as you're flirting with them and getting a deeper conversation, you start to feel whether or not the temperature, the chemistry is being made, and whether or not it's for you. Next thing, breaking rapport is necessary to start flirting. The breaking rapport part and the flirting part, they're intertwined. And I mentioned that conversation needs to be a little bit uncomfortable in order to truly see a woman's interest in you. What I mean by uncomfortable, that just means that the dynamic of the conversation needs to start to ebb and flow. If it stays like this, that's not a good thing. Not a good thing. When you're having conversations like this, typically they're pretty boring, or there was someone that you might know and doesn't require you to have a crazy dynamic. When you think about your best friends, maybe siblings that you've had, or even your parents, and maybe some close colleagues of yours, pay attention to what kind of conversations you're having. They're not like monotonous. They're not something that's just kind of level and it just goes. There's always some fun dynamic that brings it up and down, and it spikes in emotion, in intrigue, in curiosity, in what's the other word I wanted to use? That, I'll just move on. But there is some ebb and flow that goes on. It goes up and it goes down, and a lot of it is because the conversations gets to points where they might be challenging or they might be teasing, and it does make the conversation slightly uncomfortable, but it's meant for a good purpose. It's meant to create a deeper connection with that person. This is something that you have to use with women in order for them to feel that connection and to build that chemistry. And so how you do it is by breaking rapport. You can tease, or you can physically escalate, or you can qualify in ways that lets her know that she's the type of person that you find attractive, that you look to date. And when she accepts that and makes an attempt to reestablish rapport, then that's her way of letting you know that she is reciprocating. She's accepting that flirt and she's reciprocating it back to you, which means that she's interested. Next thing, flirting is not necessary online, which it's funny because I still get questions about how to flirt online. It's actually not necessary. In fact, you don't need to at all. In fact, I would actually go as far as say, don't try to flirt online. I don't think it's really necessary, and any opportunities to flirt, any chance that you do flirt has the biggest chance of being misinterpreted and could derail your opportunity to actually get offline with any woman that you reach out to. All you have to really do is build rapport, make her feel comfortable that you're trying to connect with her. And then just when the opportunity comes, get offline as quickly as you can. I think my wife talks about this in other match webinars, but usually it takes on a site 3 back and forths. So a total of 6 messages before it is usually comfortable to get offline. And then for apps, it's 10 back and forth. And so 20 messages total before that comfort's there where you can get offline. But in that time, you don't need to flirt. It's not truly necessary. I did give examples before and about what that looks like if you're trying to do it right. But more often than not, guys just don't execute that well. And I realize that it's not necessary. So don't feel the need to do it. In fact, you should feel good knowing that there's something else. There's something that you don't need to learn and do, and just really focus on the key component, which is building rapport, building comfort, building connection, sharing, and then eventually getting offline, where the flirting can really happen and actually mean something. I read about this in the feedback, which is about confidence, expecting results, although people don't get them. I get that. I think the point was being missed there is when you're confident, you go in and you expect results. You just go in there and you expect a positive result to take place. When you're hoping, you're automatically doubting the results. You're doubting the results will actually happen. You're doubting the positive results will happen. Now, I'm not saying when you're confident and you expect results that you're going to get results. It does increase your chances of results because your body language is going to reflect that confidence, which then can basically communicate to women that you potentially experience these results relatively often, which then allows you to have your word taken for. And then that just helps the dynamic. But confidence, when you go in and expect results and they don't happen, most people, when they're confident and they expect the results, aren't disappointed. They're not sad about this. And I had this conversation with a client when I was in San Francisco working with him, because I noticed the first night that we were working together, there were women who just weren't being cool. They weren't being responsive. And I personally didn't think it was his fault. I think he went in with the right energy and he was being fun. And for whatever reason, and we all have those nights where just we're just picking the wrong women and they're not responding well to us. And I totally get that, and it sucks. It can be frustrating. But when you go in there and you're confident and you expect good things to happen from it, you don't get disappointed. Usually, you are just confused. You're like, wait, why didn't it work the way it was supposed to? And you start to just think about, and when you are confused, you're never looking at yourself as the reason why the results didn't happen, because you went in there expecting it. You did all the right things. You thought what you were supposed to do. Usually thinking, okay, there's something else that was going on. Is it her? Is it the environment? What's going on? And so you start to think in that direction. When you hope for something to happen, you're automatically doubting that the results are not going to take place. And when they don't take place, you do get disappointed. And instead of looking on the outside to think what may have gone wrong, you immediately assume that you're the problem. You're the reason why. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. And going through that cycle is a lot more painful and takes a lot longer to get out of than as opposed to being confident. Now, you can't just instantly become confident. You can trigger it through body language. And I work with my clients and talk about that. But experience also breeds confidence too. And so if you can create a system that can help you create a lot of experience with a feedback loop, right? With a feedback loop that lets you know how you can work on things to get better, work on choosing better prospects, finding better locations, your confidence will increase. I'm not lying to you. I've been doing this for 9 years. So I've seen it and it's been proven, and my clients will tell you. So confidence is very important in terms of understanding that you're expecting results as opposed to hoping results will happen and instantly doubting that they will. And lastly, most importantly, have fun. I know for many of you, maybe dating isn't fun for you right now, and I totally get why. It definitely can be frustrating, even with all of this. It can be frustrating. I've seen it happen. Like I said, my client in San Francisco had a very frustrating first night. And when we talked about this, it really changed his perspective, and then we ended up having a blast the next day, and he ended up meeting a couple women that he's now going to set up dates with over the next couple weeks. So when you allow yourself to have fun, it does make things better. People do gravitate around you, and they want to, because in a world where people see depression and just terrible things that are going on, it's always nice to know that there's some energy out there that's positive, that makes other people feel good, and people want to be around that. I think it's so important. So I'm going to leave these bullet points up, and I'm going to start going into some Q&A. So if you guys have questions, you can post it there. Looks like, great comment here. David says, started using the methods you taught at the master seminar. Works great. Thank you. I'm so glad it has been working out for you, man. I try to keep it as simple as possible with the opportunity of going deep. Because if you really just want the strategies, it's out there. You don't need to, come to me or anyone else for that matter to find information of how to do these things. There's always something more. There's always a reason why you have these strategies, but it hasn't been working for you. And so for me, I just start the surface level and go deep to find out what's really going on. And a lot of times, these are the things that are typically going on with guys as to why they can't really bring it together. They're usually not open and honest with their romantic intentions, so they come off creepy, as women would like to use. They're being needy because they don't want to lose the interaction, or they don't want to upset her by them flirting with them. And when instead they need to be more vulnerable and allow themselves to take those chances. They're usually taking things very personally and not realizing that chemistry is about compatibility, and they're not breaking rapport because they're afraid of making women upset or uncomfortable. And then they might be trying too hard online, whether it's through long paragraphs or trying to flirt with a woman, and that's really turning them off. And so these are all the things that I always see when I work with my clients that are common traits of why the flirting has not been working for them. And so I put things in bold that are super important if you want to remember anything. Open, honest, romantic intentions, embracing vulnerability, not being personal, compatibility, breaking rapport, not necessarily online, having fun, expecting results. These are the things that you want to focus on moving forward when it comes to practicing flirting and getting better at it. And not just flirting, guys. I mean, we're talking about anything. It could be approaching, it could be getting in deeper conversation. It could be, asking someone out or asking for their number. And then when you're on dates, these things all still apply. There's no need to change the dynamic, to change your behavior, to change your strategy, because what has worked in the past will certainly work again in the future. And so that's what you want to use to create and maintain that momentum. So let me go into the questions here and see what's up. Okay. So quite a few questions, but not that many, but we'll go through them. So one question was, what's something you can say to a woman when flirting to show her you're interested? So there are subtle and then more overt ways you can just show that you're interested. A subtle way would be through teasing, typically. When you're like, oh, like you have the cutest freckles on your nose. It's so adorable. Or, man, like you are a gamer. Like you're such a geek. I love it. The ways you can tease. Those are a little bit more. That's a little bit more subtle. Some other things, some other more overt ways to do it. I'll give you some. Yeah, Dave, I'll give you some examples of breaking rapport. Actually, I'm actually doing it right now through teasing. Right. So another way you can do it more overtly is like, wow, like you have like a worldly sense of view. I think that's incredibly attractive, and I also think it's incredibly refreshing because I don't see that a lot. Or wow, like you love to cook. I love women that love to cook. I'm such a foodie. I love food. You can be a little bit more romantic and say something like, I can't stop staring at you. You look absolutely amazing tonight. That's another way you can be flirtatious and break rapport. It's going to make her feel a certain way. It doesn't necessarily need to be uncomfortable, but you're saying something that's changed the dynamic of the conversation. And maybe that's how it should be interpreted. You're not making the conversation necessarily uncomfortable. You're just changing the dynamic of the conversation. It's no longer at just this kind of this even level. Now you're trying to take things up a notch. Or if you're teasing, you're trying to take things down a notch a little bit. And you're trying to make things a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. But those are all great examples of how to flirt and break rapport. Because that's when you are breaking rapport, is when you're initiating the flirtation. At least the initial one. Hope you guys heard that. How do you get their attention without coming on too strong? Honestly, the best way to keep it simple is to approach, smile, engage them in a way that's just open and honest. And when opportunities do come up, you can flirt with them. Now, when you come on too strong, what's usually happening is you're flirting every chance you get. And that's not actually necessary. That's when she starts to feel like you're coming on too strong. And especially if you are more focused on her looks, then she feels like you're coming on way too strong. However, if you're having fun in the interaction and maybe you might be teasing her a little bit, then she knows that you're much more lighthearted. You're not trying to come on strong at all. Now, the best way I can describe this is you want to balance, the complimenting with the teasing, because if you compliment too much, then you might be coming on too strong. If you tease too much, then you might come off like a jerk, right? So it needs to be a healthy balance between the two. And that should prevent you from coming on too strong or from coming off like a jerk. How to approach someone who's in a position expected to serve you, like someone working? I actually answered this question a couple weeks ago on the webinar, to be honest. Because I've dated my fair share of bartenders and waitresses in my time. The best example I can give you is one of my own, to be honest. So when I see a bartender that I'm really attracted to, the first thing I think of is, do I like this place enough to want to come here often? And the answer is yes. Then I know that I'll come here often no matter what, which means I'll see her often no matter what. And when I do see her, I just make a point to just have a conversation with her. Maybe I'll joke around about how busy she's been, or how terrible a table's been, or how her day's been going. Maybe I'll poke fun at something else. And just have fun conversation. See how her day's going, tell her how my day's going when the time is there. A lot of times I'll actually go to the bar or restaurant during the week when it's a little bit slower. So we can have longer conversations, which is great. After a while now, I'm like eventually starting to flirt with her, be friendly, be overly friendly with her in the sense where I'm flirting with her. And I see how she's responding. She might be teasing me, or maybe she's reciprocating it. That gives me a good sense that maybe she could be into it. Then eventually when I feel comfortable enough and I get an idea of, how often I see her when I'm at the bar, or, when her off days are, I just basically straight up say, hey, like, I love seeing you here, but like, when do we get to hang out outside of here? And literally just start the conversation from there. At which point she, when you're working in the hospitality industry, you get a pretty frank response from at that point. She'll either say she has a boyfriend, she's uninterested, or she'll say yes. And then there you go. Nothing you can do to change it, because a lot of times when women are working in that particular industry, they either already have boyfriends or husbands, or they are just not interested in dating someone who attends that particular venture, because it might change the dynamic of it, and they have to also protect themselves, because God forbid they meet someone who's a little bit creepy, or doesn't make them feel comfortable after that moment. Then it makes them uncomfortable to work there, and at that point you don't want to compromise their ability to make money and to make a living working at that establishment. So it's something. So you have to play the long game, and it can't be instant, because the moment it is instant and you try to rush it, then you're just like every other guy who looks at her and finds her to be incredibly attractive, and just wants to like get with her. But if you put in the time, you can build a connection, you can build that rapport that can eventually lead her to be comfortable enough to want to see you outside of this place. All right. Is it appropriate to kiss on the first date? You can 100% kiss on the first date. It's not necessary, but you totally can kiss on a first date. I always say if you are building enough chemistry and there's a lot of attraction there, then you can go for the kiss during the date, which is awesome, and not have to wait until the end of the first date. If somehow you go for the kiss during the date and she gives you cheek, then that's totally fine. She's not rejecting you, she's denying you, and it doesn't mean that you can't go for it again at the end of the first date. She might just not be ready yet. But if she's giving you all other signs of her flirting with you, getting close to you physically, having fun with you, then you know that she's interested. She just may not necessarily be ready to hit that level. For a lot of women, that's a huge milestone for them, and they're very protective of that particular milestone. Whereas for us, we see it as a direct correlation to whether or not the date was a success. And so I want you guys to understand that it doesn't matter anymore. You can not kiss on a first date and have a fantastic date and be able to see them again. You just have to pay attention to every other sign of her showing you interest before really making a decision based on that. Let's see. Appropriate flirting for my age range. Is there a difference? Well, it depends on the it really depends on the age range. I personally don't think that there's a whole lot of difference if you're flirting with someone who's 5 years younger, 5 years older, or 20 years older, or 20 years younger. I really just don't really see the difference. The most important thing to understand about flirting is that it's fun and it has an underlying romantic undertone that any woman, no matter how old she is going to notice. If you are worried about that when it comes to the age difference, then I would lean more towards the fun part than the romantic/sexual part, and see how she responds. And sometimes a woman might flirt with you and use a romantic / sexual undertone. And that can let you know that she's comfortable going in that direction. Let's see. Let's see. How do you get over the fear of putting yourself out there and getting back into the dating after a long break? Great question. So there will ultimately be a fear of getting back out into the dating pool, no matter how long you've been in a relationship. I have clients I've worked with who, I have one client actually, he was in a marriage for 21 years, and he was in his early 60s when he basically finalized his divorce. So imagine how much the dating landscape has changed, in the 25 years that he's been with this woman. They've been married for 21 years, but they were together for 25. So, going online, totally different. He even moved into a new city, totally different. Of course, there's a fear of being out there. I think the most important thing to understand is there's two things to understand. If you've been in a marriage, or if you've been in a relationship, know that you can get into one again. You're not like a failure. I always tell single dads all the time that, even though the relationship didn't last, doesn't mean that it wasn't successful. I mean, you have children that came out of it, beautiful children. And so in that respect, the relationship was a huge success. And so when it's time to go back out there, it's a conscious decision that needs to be made to say, listen, the only way for me to move forward is to be able to see the opportunities that are out there and see other women who appreciate me, at a time where maybe your last relationship or your last partner did not. And so, when it comes to that fear of putting yourself out there, focus more on where that fear comes from. Is it just fear of experiencing something you experienced with your partner, your previous partner, or there's a serious fear of rejection? Man, I feel like a lot of times we connect the rejection to our previous partner, and then we project that forward. The breakup that occurred between you and your partner, your significant other, is completely isolated from your ability to go out and attract someone different. And so it's one of those things you have to kind of take on and really internalize. And at that point, you'll feel not only ready, because I don't care about you being ready to go out there. Usually people aren't ready to go out there. I want you to feel confident that you can go out there and not worry about the fear. The fear is something that will never go away, guys. Like your fear of rejection, your fear of denial, your fear of not being good enough, like those things will not go away. Any material you read out there that says that you'll lose all your fear or anything like that, like it's all nonsense. Even with my program that I have called Fearless Dating, like it's just a name. It's not designed to tell you you're going to be fearless, because fear exists. But the real thing that you have to understand about the fear is what you do with the fear, which is mental. It's not real. Like there's no tiger in the room. There's no bear in the room, because that's danger. That's not fear. Because there's actual physical harm that could be done to you when those things are happening. When you are in a room or an opportunity to flirt with someone, there's no physical harm that can actually take place. So anything that you are materializing is purely mental. So when you're trying to embrace that fear, what can you do to either ignore it, desensitize yourself to it, or use it as a source of power to push you forward to get exactly what it is that you're looking for? I don't want you guys going out thinking that you're trying to find ways to get rid of your fear, because you can't. It's not something that's going to go away. In fact, the fear is just a mental evaluation of the physical chemistry that's going through your body. In other words, when you see a woman, your body reacts in a way that spikes your adrenaline. And in that moment, it's a fight or flight situation. This is something that's very similar to when you see danger. When there's a bear in the room, it's a fight or flight. Either fight the bear, you punch in the face, or you run. But either way, that's what's going on. And so when you want to flight, that's because you're allowing your fear to choose that, to make that decision for you, which fear, like I said, it doesn't exist. It's something our imagination has creates for ourselves to justify why we should run. In reality, it's just your body recognizing someone who's really attractive that you're interested in and is trying to tell you, you should go look into that. You should go and see if there's a connection that can be made, not just necessarily physically, but for guys, it's mostly physically, but also emotionally or intellectually or spiritually. That's what's really going on with us, guys. And I want you guys to really understand that. Don't forget this, because when you're out there and you're in that moment and you feel your body kind of tweak out and go nuts, that is what's going on. It's not up here. When you get out of here, then you feel it here and you really understand, okay, this is a biological reaction because I find her to be attractive. You don't get that feeling with every woman that you meet, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of unattractive women out there who don't make you feel that way. So it's just your body serving as a filter to let you know, oh, like, she's pretty attractive, I should look into that because that's what my body is gravitating towards. As opposed to feeling like, oh shit, why am I feeling this way? I should, maybe I'm afraid of this, I should run. That's what society has raised us to believe. That's what the media has done to us, but that is not how we have been living for the millions of years we've been on this planet. Okay, after that quick little rant. For a man over 60, how to flirt without being creepy. Once again, the creepiness comes through when you're not open and honest with your intentions. When I imagine, for a man over 60, I imagine, a lot of the clients I work with who are 55 and older don't tend to behave or look like someone like those who are 55 and older. So a lot of times they are looking for women who are younger. Usually it's anywhere from 5 to 20 years younger, which is totally okay. So if you're ever worried about skewing on the larger part of that scale, where maybe you're, let's say, 61 and the woman you're talking to is 41, at that point, the way to not look creepy is, once again, just being open and honest about your romantic intentions. Make it clear from the start when you first meet her that, like, you're not trying to be there to be her friend. You're trying to get to know her to see if there's a romantic possibility. This can happen when you first meet someone at an event or at a bar, or it could be on a date, especially one that originates online. And so that's really the way to avoid being creepy. You hear this word a lot, and it's usually, I would say 99% of the time, it's tied to guys. You rarely hear a woman being creepy, but they do exist. But you rarely hear about that. And a lot of times, the reason why guys are seen as creepy is because they're not being open and honest, which means they're being deceitful. They're not, they're trying to be more seductive than being romantic, which means they're trying to seduce women to do what they want, manipulate situations, as opposed to being romantic and creating an experience that's fun. A lot of times they are confusing women because they're acting a certain way when they really mean to act a certain way, or they project themselves to want one thing but they really want another thing. These are all elements of making women uncomfortable, hence using the creepy term. So if you want to avoid being creepy, it starts with being open and being honest. Let's see. Is there such thing as a hopeless case? I personally believe that, the short answer to this, yes, but not for the reason that you think. A lot of times I try to work with clients, and some I don't even take on from the get-go. Some I have to let go. And the commonality between those two groups has been that they're not willing to do what it takes to make the progress and get the results that they're looking for. And so in that case, if you're not willing to do that, then yes, you are hopeless. There are hopeless cases that are out there, but I can't force them to do anything that they don't want to. And, when the way I coach my clients, we always have fun. I never do anything that makes them, that can compromise their integrity. I think is the most important thing to understand. I also don't put them in positions where danger can actually come up, where they can be physically unsafe. And so outside of those things, I really just do push my clients to break outside their comfort zone, because that's where the woman that they want exists. It's outside of your comfort zone. But if they're not willing to do that, nothing I can do to help them. And so in my particular case, they are hopeless. Maybe not for someone else. How to keep conversation going if you don't have the gift of gab. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm reading a lot of questions. I'm starting to see a lot of questions here about conversation. Um, you know, when it comes to conversation, like, you have to understand the reason why what's happening is the reason why I'm seeing clients or guys like you not able to keep conversation going is because you're not expecting to get that far. This is what I'm talking when it comes to expecting results or expecting positive outcomes. When you are prepared for success, then you already know what to do moving forward. When you are preparing yourself for failure and success happens, you don't know how to handle that success. So imagine walking up to a woman and she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you came over here. It's great to meet you. 9 times out of 10 guys will just be like, wait, what? What, did that just happen? And their freaking out part lets women know that this doesn't happen to them often. And it makes them feel insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that they allow themselves to be so vulnerable with you. Or if we're in conversation and things are great, and then all of a sudden you are like, wow, like, we've been talking for 30 minutes. This is great. I didn't expect this to happen. Then you start to doubt yourself about, like, wait, why is it happening? How can I keep this going? I want to keep this going. And all of a sudden now you're overanalyzing, you're overthinking, and now you blank. Because none of you on here can run out of things to say. It's just not possible. You guys have friends that you can have conversations with for a very, very long time. And you have to remember, at one point, these people were not your friends. So if you're able to have conversations with them, and I know for a lot of you too, who maybe set up calls with me and we chat, and some of you are in my program, some of you are not, some of you work with me one-on-one, we can get in conversations and never run out of things to say. And at one point, you just met me as a stranger on the other side of a phone. So there's no excuse to tell me that you can't keep conversation going. And maybe at that point, if you really just don't have much more conversation to say, then wrap up the conversation, ask them out, get a number so you can walk away from that as cleanly as possible. But I don't want to hear you guys don't have things to say, because you have a lot to say. So you're not prepared to go that far, and you should be. Stop preparing yourself for failure. Prepare yourself for success so you continue to have success. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Do a lot of women play hard to get? How can I flirt with them without seeming too eager? Yes, women do play hard to get. They do it on purpose. I know it's not fun for us guys because we just want to know if they like us, but they do it because they need to make sure that you're the kind of guy that you are showing up to be, and that you are actually consistent, because there are guys out there who know how to say the right things. They know how to do the right things, but when it comes to certain situations, they start to reveal their true selves. A lot of times it happens through adversity. And so when women try to give adverse situations, excuse me, for example, if you try to tease and, let's say, oh my God, like, so one of the examples I use, let's say, like, oh my God, like, you're a gamer. You love to play video games or something like that. Wow, you're such a geek. I love it. And she goes, that's not funny. And I was like, so in that moment, when she says that, most guys think she's being serious. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. We don't know. But we assume, once again, because we were prepared for failure, we assume that she is being serious. And all of a sudden, you go into, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to say it like that. Like, I'm sorry. And even though you think you're playing it off, you're coming off needy because you think you upset her. You're trying to make things okay with her. She just, that was her test to see if, like, you are the way you behave. And clearly you show that you are not. And for her, that she finds that deceitful. Instead, you say, oh my God, you're such a geek. I love it. She goes, that's not funny. And I go, yeah, it wasn't meant to be funny. I actually love the fact that you're a geek. I think it's amazing. You continue to follow through with it. And that's your way of showing consistency in how you behave and what you actually mean. And actually, I remember one time where I saw a client do that, something similar in terms of that dynamic, where she was like, that's not funny. And she goes, and he went, that wasn't meant to be funny. I'm actually being serious. I love that about you. Then she got into a needy state and was like, oh, I was just kidding. I wasn't being serious. So I was like, I know, we're just here having fun, right? And so the conversation then was able to move on. So sometimes when you stand your ground, she then needs to basically qualify herself, and she goes into somewhat of a needy state to get back your approval, so that you guys can keep the conversation going. So that's really the best way to understand how women can play hard to get. It's just something that women do because there are a lot of guys out there who may have done wrong by them, and they need to make sure that the next guy they decide to be with is who they say they are. It really is. Oh, Kyle, thanks for coming, man. We're going to be here for a little bit longer, so just make sure you grab the replay. There will be replay, guys, and just be able to check that out. But thanks for coming, man. We got a lot more questions. I want to fly through these real quick. All right, we're not seeing too many things of here. Long time friend zone, 2-boy friend zone. That's I mentioned this on this webinar too. That's very hard to get into that. If you still feel like you need to figure that out, then the best thing I would ask you to do is just to be completely transparent. Let her know how you feel. The key here is to know that by doing this, you are risking the possibility of the friendship ending, because you have to make a choice. You either want the friendship or you want the chance of more than a friendship. Can't have it both ways. It just doesn't work. So when you decided to try to make things more than friends, you're doing it at the risk of not having her as a friend anymore. And if you're willing to do that, then go for it, by all means. If not, then maybe it's not worth it. And you should just maintain the relationship that you guys currently have. Let's see. Cool. So this is actually a really interesting one. I hear podcasts about women needing to find a partner and who are lonely. Do I not want someone like that because she's needy? This question is really interesting because, like I said, I work with women a lot, and of course they're lonely. But let's face it, guys. Like, some of us are lonely too, and it is totally understandable. I'm not saying it's okay, but it's understandable why you will be needy in a certain situation, especially for women. You have to understand, like, our psychological behavior is just based on previous experiences. It's not necessarily how we intend to behave, but it's just sometimes it comes out that way. And I'm here to teach you guys to try to evolve that behavior into one that makes you more desirable, and it gives you a chance to create chemistry. Women are trying to do the same thing too. Of course, for them, there's a lot of great pressure on them to not be lonely and to find that love, because emotionally they want that probably more than we do. I mean, for us, the physical intimacy, the physical connection means a lot in addition to the emotional connection. But when we initially meet a woman, the priority is usually physical, then emotional. Whereas for women, it's physical. It's emotional, it's intellectual, and then it's physical. So it's not even like number two. Usually it's number three. And so for them to not be able to have that means so much more than us not having a physical connection with a woman. And so they are trying to learn the same things that you guys are trying to learn now in a way that makes sense to them. And so I don't think because they're acting needy or they're lonely and they want a relationship doesn't mean that they are undateable. Because then that would mean that maybe a lot of you are undateable, and that's not true, right? So it's important to be empathetic towards the other side too, where they have their own issues. They're not perfect, not by any means. I know this for a fact, having worked with them. So it's not something that I want you to really kind of take into consideration when deciding who to be with, because I don't think that'd be fair. But just know that they're working on themselves too, just like we are. All right, I'm going to close this out for now, and then get into some. And I'm going to get into. We're at the 40-minute mark. And then after I do this, then we're going to get into the final bit of Q&A. So obviously, answering all these questions for you, it's been really, really great. And thank you guys for coming to the webinar. Obviously you guys have seen us work together, doing this for almost 10 years with my team, and we've done it all. We've seen it. And even when we get on our phone calls with our clients, our prospective clients, we tell them, we've seen it all. If there's anything that we can whatever issue you're having, we've been able to solve it and we can do it again. And I also talk about the 6 standards when it comes to finding a coach. When we work with our clients, we make them know that, like, if it's not us, then make sure you find someone who meets these requirements, which are very important. I'm not going to go deep into these, but they're getting amazing results in their business. They're being well known. They're being talked about. The word's being spread. Reviews are going out about them. They do the thing they teach, right? They're not just someone who teaches and then doesn't do it themselves. It'd be like hiring a fitness instructor or personal trainer who's like 200 pounds overweight. It doesn't make any sense. But their clients are also getting amazing results. What are the stats there? They're getting a lot of marriages, how many people are in relationships, so on and so forth. And they're transparent about those numbers. They show them off because that's something that they're proud of. And they have a step-by-step system for getting quick results. That's something that I want to share with you guys as well, which has been really awesome. And then they provide real support and accountability every step of the way, which is also something I want to provide. So, the way we can help is, my team and I have a program that can help you guys apply these strategies and more into your everyday life and get a girlfriend fast. And what I mean by fast, I will tell you what I mean just in a little bit, because it is fast. Whatever your biggest challenges are, we've seen and we know how to overcome them. Like I said, I've been doing this for nearly 10 years now. I've been working on myself personally for over 12, and I've been coaching for nearly 10 years. So trust me when I know that, like, I know I might look like a baby face, and I know some of you guys on here are maybe twice my age, but I can assure you I am the real deal. I'm not here to bullshit you guys. I'm not here to tell you guys lies. This is all from personal experience of spending nearly 30,000 hours of going out and interacting with people, coaching, seeing connections happen or not happen, and knowing exactly why, and being able to break that down into a science. And so the program here is called Fearless Dating. I mentioned it just briefly before. And the program is designed to learn the step-by-step instructions of making a connection, whether it's online or offline, in a way that allows you to not ever feel like you're alone again. That you have the ability and the confidence to meet whoever it is that you decide you want to meet and how to meet them. So the simple version of the program gives you the complete blueprint to attracting women both online and offline, the lifetime access to in a real-time support group. So, and then weekly group sessions with myself and my wife every week. So I'll break it down for you very, very quickly. It's an 8-week program where every week you're going to get a video that covers a specific milestone in the process of meeting someone. And we give you both the online and the offline strategies that come with it. At the end of the videos, we're going to give you action items that you then have to implement yourself, that you then go in and implement. And every step of the way, you're making progress with each stage of the dating process. We have everything from how to set up your lifestyle and your online presence to be more conducive to meeting people, all the way through what you should be doing on the 3rd date, and everything in between when it comes to approaching, flirting, conversation, asking women out, the 1st date, 2nd date, and so on. Usually by the 3rd date, we find that our members and our clients who join the program are at a place where they start to decide whether or not they want to be in a relationship or not, or be exclusive with them. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's shorter, but usually we see that that's the case. The lifetime access in the real-time support group is basically a private Facebook group, super private Facebook group, where you get access to myself and my wife forever. So not only are you going to be able to meet fellow members of any person who joined Fearless Dating over the past year and a half, but all you need to do if you are on Facebook is to tag us, myself or my wife, and ask us for advice. So anything from breaking down your profile and getting feedback on that to finding out what are some good date ideas, or how do you handle certain specific scenarios that are applicable to you. And then the weekly group sessions are actually live, and they're over video just like this. And so myself and my wife, we get online and we give you guys open forum to ask us questions either based on the video that you just watched from the week before, or maybe something that's going on in your life right now that you want to talk about. So we always we do the live coaching and then we record it. So if you do happen to miss it, you get to replay the next day. And those are 8 weekly group coaching sessions with the both of us. So imagine just being able to get access to us live every week for an hour for 8 weeks, which is awesome. So with that, we have a couple bonuses that we're offering people. One is how to update your wardrobe to become more attractive. This is from my work that I've done with stylists, personal stylists, those who started, at a very young age when it comes to their careers, and are now some of the best personal designers. And they actually not only style people one-on-one, but they also style entire companies, entire teams, Fortune 500s, to become more attractive. And the best way I can describe this program, this particular video, is imagine being able to dress in a way that gets women to approach you. And it's purely based on your personality. And so we break down everything from, how not to spend a lot of money on your clothes, what clothes to keep, what clothes to donate, what items you should always have in your wardrobe, how much you should be spending on them, how much you should not be spending on them, and everything in between, from accessories to color to fit to everything. So for a lot of people, this alone is very valuable to them because they spend years not dressing well, and now they have that extra edge they've been looking for. The second bonus we have is the secrets to the most attractive online dating profile photos. I know for a lot of you guys coming from Match or any other dating site, photos do matter because obviously you use them to determine, usually who you want to reach out to when it comes to women. Well, women look at your photos too. They read first, but they look at your photos after. And so my wife, she practically wrote the book on online dating. So she has all this data and all this research and experience on what photos actually are the most attractive, from should you be smiling in your photo, what should be your main photo, how many photos you should have, and what's the sequence of the photos you should have. Very, very valuable stuff, which are awesome. And so she offered that bonus to you. And to make, although this is a group coaching program, to make it more personalized, we have other things that we do. But for now, just take a look at what you get. You get the blueprint, lifetime access, the weekly group coaching sessions, which are 8 weekly. And then you have how to update your wardrobe and the secrets to most attractive online dating profile photos. So a lot of value already. So now listen, for me, there are things that are important when it came to creating this program. One was I wanted you guys to make dating fun again. So, if this program was fun for you and dating became fun, would it be worth it? I wanted you guys to have some accountability, so you finally just got up and actually did something about it. And so if this was a thing that finally give you a kick in the butt, would it be worth it? And most importantly, I want you guys going on more dates. Not just first dates, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are having at least a good amount of first dates. But what if you got more second, more third, maybe more dates, maybe a relationship? Would it be worth it? For a lot of guys, the answer is yes. Now, there are 2 choices here, at this point. And I see some of you guys, bouncing off, you listen to the offer. And I'm not done with the offer yet because it's something special I want to share with you at the end. But listen, you guys can log off and appreciate the advice that I gave you. And I really do appreciate the time that you guys have. I really do. I love giving advice. And as long as you guys are going out there and implementing it, like guys like Dave, then I think it's awesome. But the other option would be to, now when you do nothing, that's totally fine. But at the same time, I don't always want to see the same guys here on these webinars unless they want to say hi to me or they want to talk to me about their success that they've been having. After a while, a year passes by and now you guys are in the same place. I don't want that for you guys. You don't deserve that. You deserve progress. You deserve results. This is the kind of thing that can help you get it. But if you choose to do nothing, that's fine. But you can also make a small investment today compared to all the value you can get in return and give it a shot. When you think about the many dates that you're about to go on, that you may go on over the next month, I will promise you it'll likely be less than what you would invest in today. And at the end of the day, when are you going to invest in your life to make it better? You invest in other things in your life and hopefully they resulted in good experiences making your life better. This is the one thing that most people put aside until the last minute, although it matters to them almost usually the most. So when are you going to invest in this part of your life to make it better? So the bonus I just talked about before to add more personalization to the experience is you get a one-on-one call with your choice of myself or of my wife. And so we feel like during the program you need more online dating assistance, set up a call with my wife. Or if you feel like you need more assistance with the one-on-one element, the in-person element, then you call on me. So you can see how this could be a good deal, especially when I work with my one-on-one clients. at $4,000. And before we offer to the general public as opposed to through these exclusive webinars, we would offer for $2,000. But for those who stuck around, I see 47 of you, maybe 46 if I'm also a participant. But you guys are special for sticking around, and I love you guys for that. And so I'm offering you guys one last time some cool stuff. First one, and this is only going to last for 48 hours. So you'll have 48 hours to actually get this bonus. But we have a 7-day female decoder course with Laurie. And it says available to midnight. It's available 48 hours. I decided to extend it. So ignore that bottom piece. In fact, I'll take that out. So it'll be available probably until Sunday. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sunday. No, is it or Friday? Let's say Saturday. Because today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is it? I don't know. You guys get the point. You get to the point. Until whatever. I'll take it out altogether. Totally fine. So this female decoder course is designed to help you understand the psychology of women, and to understand what they do, why they do it, and how do you handle it. A lot of times I see guys, when they see women do, we'll call it crazy shit, your instinct is to react. And usually when we react, there's a lot of other things that can go wrong because of that. And so this 7-day course is designed to help you understand how to not be reactive and how to understand what they're trying to communicate so you can respond to what they're trying to communicate. I can promise you this will help you learn more about texting. This will help you learn more about conversations that you have with women. This will even help you in relationships, should you get there. This is a very powerful course. And my wife actually spent weeks, right after she had her baby, after we had our baby, to work on this course. And so I can tell she put a lot of effort into it, and I know it's awesome. The guys who receive the course, they love it. The next thing is the 3-day flirting mastery course. And so obviously we learned a lot about flirting in the Match webinar, and you learned a little bit here. You're going to learn a lot more in the program in Fearless Dating. And then this 3-day course just takes all of that and takes it to another level. Usually I don't even offer this. Once again, this is available for 48 hours, not until midnight. Usually I don't even offer this course until after you watch week 4, which is flirting. Actually, no, it's week 3. Week 3 is flirting. Week 3, I usually don't offer this course until then, because in order for you to really understand this part, you have to go through the video, video 3, which is the flirting part. So it really does take things to the next level for you. I had my one-on-one client listen to it, or actually read it in San Francisco, and that was when his mind was completely blown. And he said to me that this is the most valuable piece of information you've given me across anything else that we've done together. And he's seen the Fearless Dating course. He's gone through it, and I've obviously worked with him one-on-one in person. So for him to say that says a lot about the value of this piece. So that being said, I want to share, a couple of testimonials from clients who actually went through the results, so you can actually see firsthand what happens with them. So one of our guys here said, I would not approach women in person because I did not know what to say, and if I did approach someone, it never seemed to go well. I feel a lot of pressure and I would choke, so I swiped away at Tinder where I had some matches, but only got a couple of dates, which went nowhere. And I also I did not pay much attention to my clothes. The weekly video and weekly chats with Thomas and Laura explored real-life situations, including the dreaded "what do I say?" I was surprised to see other men were also in the similar situation, and it helped me realize I'm not alone. Thomas gave me great advice on style and wardrobe, and I'm confident I'm better dressed now when I go out. Bonus, it was not an expensive makeover either. Laura opened my eyes to new dating apps and websites and the differences between them in terms of content and messaging. She and other clients in the forum also helped me refresh my profiles and present myself in the best possible light. I also learned the appropriate number of messages before asking someone out and how to avoid getting stuck as pen pals. I found myself confidently talking to attractive women who I did not know, of course, in person, whether I wanted to date them or not. I got many more quality matches through an app and website, especially following the profile refresh, and met about 10 women in person. As I put Thomas and Lori's lesson into practice, I got better at dates, including timing, content, body language, etiquette, and how to explore chemistry at different levels. I'm now in a relationship. That's from our boy Robbie, and they're still in a relationship. This was a testimony he gave us for the better part of 6 months ago. So obviously you can see what the results are here, and I want to give you guys an overall overview of like everything that's going on here. Ignore the midnight bonuses, and there are 48-hour bonuses, but you get the blueprint, the access. Remember, the lifetime access is once the 8 weeks are done, you're still going to be a part of that community. You're still going to get lifetime access to us for advice whenever you need it. The weekly group sessions with Lori, with myself and Lori, which a lot of the guys find a lot of value out of that too, just to be able to ask us anything and everything. Then you'll get the how to update your wardrobe, most attractive online dating profiles, the one-on-one with myself or with my wife Lori, and then the female decoder course, and then the 3-day flirting mastery course. You can see a lot of value, with this. And this is usually the amount you see at the bottom is not meant for sticker shock. I'm really showing this to you because this is the upwards range of what clients will pay to work with me one-on-one around the world. And so the last thing I want to show you is actually recently, I mean recently, a couple months ago, from someone who was actually in our program too. So he said, I just want to, and I obviously blurred his name and his face just for protection and privacy, but he did give us permission to use this, which I really appreciate. And he said, just want to provide a quick update of my progress. After finishing this program, I met a girl that knocked my socks off. We've been dating for 2 months now, which I think at this point is 4 months, and it's been great. Thank you guys for all the useful info. And yes, please, you can always you can always use your call when you want to. Yes, so obviously the results are there, and I want to make sure to make a point before I let you know the price and the link to sign up. This will likely be the very last time we offer this program at this price. I have started to work with a business coach, and he and she both realized that the amount of value that we're offering and the price does not connect. There's more that we can do. I think the most important thing they said that there was more that we can do to provide even more value to you guys. But at this price, it just doesn't make sense. We're giving things away, and I don't like that. It doesn't sit well with me, just because I always love to be rewarded, as we all do, for the efforts that we put in. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we give you the most value. And I feel like with a lot of our guys who are in this program now, we've given them tremendous value beyond their wildest imaginations. We have some guys in here who, Doug and Jamie, I mean, those guys have had more dates than anyone in the program, and they're so much closer to finding that girlfriend as a result. And I don't want to brag, but if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be able to get there. I'm sure they would voice that opinion as well. So we're so grateful for these guys. But starting in 2018, we're going to have a totally revamped program, and it will not be at the price that we're offering, which right now is at $997. Only $997. So if go to, for those who are on the phone, getfearlessdating.com. So that's GetFearlessDating.com. Getfearlessdating.com. You can sign up right away, and you'll see that there's a countdown for the bonus, the two 48-hour bonuses that are there. And hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys in the program. I can't wait to help you guys. It's going to be an awesome fall season, and I want to make sure that we offer this to you, even if it is for the last time. It is bittersweet just because when I created this program last year, I didn't realize it was going to be so successful. I knew it was something that we needed to do to grow our business, but the results that we've gotten have been so incredible. And I'm so thankful for a lot of you guys who took the risk and jumped in, especially in the early days, 1 year ago today, basically. And I'm so privileged to be able to help you guys get the results that you had. And so I want to say that just from the bottom of my heart. I'm not going to cry, but it is bittersweet to, potentially offer this for the last time. And so I want you guys to get your shot at being a part of this program at this price, because we would not offer this at this price anymore. And I hate when I talk to clients or prospects and they don't take the leap of faith and they just don't do it, and they try to reach out to us 2 years later and our prices skyrocket. And you guys know, for some of you guys know, I've been on TV a lot. There are a lot more opportunities that are coming my way. Once my time gets limited, then my value increases. And so I don't want to be in a position where you guys don't jump in now and have to regret it because, you can't be able to get access to us these days. And I'm being real with you guys. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not using this as a tactic. I'm just being honest with you. Like, you know, our prices and our coaching rates continuously increase just because of the demand that we've been able to create. And so I just want you guys to be, I just want to be honest with you guys and let you guys know that I still care about helping you guys as much as I can. And so when these opportunities come up, I want you guys to jump on them. I'm not doing it because I want you guys to buy in. I do it because there's no better opportunity than now to change your life. So, and I've been on here for a while, and I know I want to cut things off at 6:30, and so I'm going to go through the last bits of questions. Last bit of Q&A. There are 20, so I'm going to stop at 20 as long as they're here. So you're good. Let's see here. All right. So how do we know whether a girl is enjoying the conversation? You're going to look at her body language. You're going to look at her eye contact. You're going to see if she's smiling. Is she getting closer to you? Is she physically engaging with you? Is she teasing you? Is she laughing? Those are things that you're looking for in enjoying conversation. Also, very importantly, when it comes to depth, is she sharing things about herself? Is she trying to connect and relate with you on a level that's below the surface? These are very, very important things to want to look for. But usually the smiling, the laughing, and the teasing, maybe a little bit of flirting, and proximity are usually the easiest signs to look. When it comes to more subtle signs, you want to see how deep she's going and if she's asking you questions about yourself. That's also very important too. Okay. So also, when a girl tries to know too much about your personal life, does that mean she's interested? Or when I ask her out, does she have to come out? What can we do to break the ice? Okay. When she is asking questions about your personal life, then she's definitely interested. You know, usually she asks about your lifestyle, siblings, family. She wants to know these things that are going on in your life to know how well-rounded of a person are you. That means she's definitely interested. And when it comes to breaking the ice, honestly, guys, like, you'll know in the program, I go very deeply into how to actually do it very effectively. But the advice I'll give you now is you can go in there as simply as just saying, hey, I just want to come over and introduce myself. I'm whoever your name is. Here it's anonymous attendee. So, hi, I'm an anonymous attendee. And really just use that to start the conversation. Then from there, use your surroundings to ask questions or make statements. You guys look like you're having a good time. What are we celebrating? What drink are you having? Oh, I love that color on you. That's really good. How do you guys know each other? There's so many questions you can ask to just keep the conversations going. I know for a lot of you, that might be the next question that you'd ask after saying hi, is what do I say next? Those are some examples of what you could say next. Great question here. How do you flirt and go out and meet women by yourself? I feel like there's some negativity towards people that go out. Once again, like, they don't know that you're by yourself unless you behave as though you're by yourself. A lot of times when you go out with your friends, you could break off from your friends and go talk to someone who you might be interested in talking to. In that moment, you're by yourself. She has no way of knowing that you're here with someone. So if that's the case, then why couldn't you go out by yourself? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, with my experience going out with clients, I've noticed that when it comes to, like, for example, speed dating events, most guys show up by themselves. Women try to bring a wing woman, but a lot of the majority of them are there for the first time. When you're going to special dating events, a lot of them are going there for the first time. So like a match event, a lot of them are going there by themselves for the first time. I can't tell you how many women I meet at these singles events that are there by themselves. And for them, it takes a lot more courage for them, even from a security and a safety standpoint, than for us to go by ourselves. So there isn't negativity towards people that go out. If you ever receive negativity from people who go out, it's just more of a reflection of their insecurity because they don't feel comfortable with the idea of going out. But has nothing to do with you. So I highly encourage you going out by yourself if that's the only choice you have. Let's see. Is it common to misconstrue a woman's friendliness for flirting? Yes, totally. It happens from time to time. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen from time to time. I'd rather go for it and apologize after, then assume that she's being friendly, because then you're missing out on a chance that could potentially mean that she's flirting, right? Once again, it's one of those things where you either prepare for failure or prepare for success. When you're asking yourself this question, people who prepare for failure assume that she's just being friendly, where people who assume success is there or prepare themselves for success, they think she's flirting. So I'd rather always lean, if you're not sure, lean towards the positive as opposed to the not so positive. All right. I love answering. I love that question in particular because it really just highlights how we internalize things and overanalyze things. Like, if you think she's being friendly but she might be flirting, flirt with her as soon as she's flirting with her until she tells you otherwise. Because she'll tell you. She'll tell you she's not interested. She'll tell you she's just being friendly. She'll tell you she's just having fun, and then but don't assume for her. Let her tell you personally. What is one tip that we can use to improve our confidence? Actually, the tip has nothing to do with experience. The tip actually is a body language exercise. And so when you think about confidence is an emotion, just like sadness, happiness, elation, anger, frustration, glee, victory, feeling victorious, actually. And with these emotions come physical motions that we do to evoke it. The thing that we don't realize is that we can actually inspire emotion through motion. In fact, Tony Robbins talks about this. How you actually can use motion to trigger yourself to feel the emotion that you want. So I want you to take time to think about, what do confident people in your life and maybe some fictitious characters do to show confidence? They might smile a lot. They might stand up straight, correct their posture. They keep their hands out of their pockets. When they're holding a drink, they keep it to their side. They dress well. They are confident in their decisions. They walk around with intent. They're not spastic. They're not like fidgeting or going crazy unless they're really animated or they're trying to show excitement about something. They maintain eye contact, and they love looking at people's eyes and showing that their vulnerability, their transparency. When you practice these things, they actually breathe heavy. They breathe slowly too. They control their breathing. Very, very major point of that. When you practice these things, at first it's going to feel weird, but when you do it enough and you project it out, people will see that as confidence and they'll want to be around it. So that's the one tip, I think, over all the tips that you can use to improve your confidence. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to blast through some more. When you say being open about your intentions, does that mean telling a girl, I like you, and I want to see where this goes? Yes, something like that. So for example, let's say you're at a point where you like this woman and you want to ask her out. Like, hey, you're a lot of fun and you're super cute, but I really enjoy your time. Like, I'd love to take you out and see what happens. Something like that is perfect. It's totally perfect. But yes, that's what it means by being open and honest about your intentions. You're making it very clear to her that you are interested in her for romantic pursuits. About flirting, should you touch when flirting? If yes, how? Yes, you should totally touch. The how part would be depending on how far you are in the interaction. So there's different levels. There's low, there's medium, and there's high level of touching. Low could be something as simple as a handshake, a high five. Medium level could be something like a side hug or a playful push if you're teasing or she's teasing you. High level could be more of like hand holding, putting your arm around her shoulder, sitting next to her where your bodies touch, something like that. Trying to blast through these guys. Just wanted to finish up. Okay, so one of your jokes. So, example, one of your jokes accidentally broke rapport with a woman that you met online, and she actually reconnected. What should I do next? Well, it depends on what she did. But typically, if there's nothing there for you to respond to, then you try to do what my wife always talks about, which is connect, share, and inquire. So if you can do that again, I imagine you did it probably on the second message. I think it's pretty typical for a lot of guys. But if by the time she does that, or maybe she asks you a question about yourself, then that would be a perfect time to be like, hey, like, love to talk about that over a drink or a cup of coffee. And so totally you can do that. In the event that she's not ready to do that, that's totally fine. Just keep the conversation going for a couple more messages and then try again. But always remember that the focus is trying to get offline as quickly as possible. So it could be now, or it could be a few messages from now, but that should always be your focus. I can't see the transition from talking to someone to showing interest and asking to see her again. There's no true transition when it comes to that. You just have to make a choice. It means you have to abruptly end the conversation. Then you do that. Then, hey, listen, I gotta go. I gotta go back and meet with my friends, or I have an early morning tomorrow. I gotta head back home. But I think you're cute, and I really like the conversation we had. I think you're super fun. I'd love to take you out for drinks this weekend. Let's make it happen. And just do it. Not everything needs to be a transition, guys. Sometimes you can abruptly decide to just go ahead and do it. And so just allow yourself to do it. If a woman was teasing me and I failed to tease back, does she probably think I didn't like her? No. It's not necessarily the reaction. You don't necessarily have to tease her back. You can always find another time to tease her. Just as long as you didn't respond poorly to it in the sense of like, oh, well, that wasn't funny, or something that you think she would do to you if you were to tease her. You know, as long as you're giving her a friendly dynamic back, then you're fine. You don't need to tease her back because she did. Don't you feel awkward if you flirt with this woman and you find out she's married? Yeah, it's an unfortunate and weird circumstance, but it's also up to her to let you know that she's married. And of course, like, sometimes we don't look down at the finger to see that she is. It's not necessarily our responsibility to always do that. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we get caught up, and at a certain point, it's her responsibility to let you know that she is not available, so you don't have to go through that process. Remember, two-way street, guys. Let's see. Yes, I talked about eye contact for sure. Talk about flirting. Yeah. Okay, cool. It looks like we've gotten through. So I have social anxiety, and I have a few friends. I've never had a girlfriend. What hope is there for me? There's always hope, man. I worked with a client who, when I started working with him, he was 42, and he only had one other friend, and then he was also a virgin. And so you would think that he had no hope himself, being at that age. And I worked with him for a long time, one-on-one. We worked together for nearly 2 years, and there were ups and there was downs. We became friends through the process too, and he learned a lot through the experience. It's not something that's easy, but it's doable. And I'm happy to say that he is with his girlfriend currently. He's no longer a virgin, and he's been able to get a couple more friends as a result. And so if he's able to do it, I have no doubts that you're able to do it, my friend. So I know we're a little bit past time, so I'm going to cut things off here. A lot of the questions that I got were kind of repeats of what I answered before. I want to take the time to thank you guys for being here. I love the fact you guys took the time and stuck with me this whole time. Definitely, when you get the chance, go to Fearless Dating, getfearlessdating.com. Sign up for the program. Would love to have you. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. We'll be happy to answer them. And like I said before, this will likely be the last time we're going to do it, not just this year, but ever, because we're going to try to create a new version of this program that will not be at this price range. And we have a 48-hour bonus that's available to you now. So if you're looking for this change in your life, that you're looking to take to the next level or completely just change your life overall, now is the time to jump on. I'd love to have you be a part of it. So thank you for taking the time with me. I can already hear my voice getting a little scraggly, so I'm going to hop off now and continue to be on the mend. This is Thomas Edwards from the Professional Wingman. I hope to see you guys in Fearless Dating, and I hope you enjoyed all the content provided here tonight. And if there's anything else, remember, go out there and date fearlessly. Guys, have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.